Oh man, we are back for episode number 2 of the BARDOWN Sports Report or podcast, whatever you want to call it. Everything soccer. Kellen and I are bringing it to you. Kellen, this is our second edition. We did not have one last week because I was being a baby about Iowa basketball. I'm sorry, folks. I was distraught after their loss to Richmond, but we are moving on to more exciting matters. Let's start off really quick in the Premier League here. We're going to be getting into the U.S. men's national team mostly on this podcast as their final round of World Cup qualifiers are this coming week. But let's start off just quick with the standings in the Premier League as we head into this international break. So here's our top 4. We have Manchester City at 70 points and Liverpool now at 69. 69 points, but a point back from Man City. Then down you have Chelsea at 59. They are in third amidst all their massive problems they're still undergoing there at that club. Arsenal sit fourth at the moment, the dreaded Arsenal, with 54. And then our Spurs are in fifth place somehow, some way, still with a chance. 51 points. I can't believe it. And Man U right behind us at 50. Initial reactions to where the standings are right now with about, we're heading into April. So not even 2 full months yet left. Month and a half.
It's awesome. I'm loving it, especially because we still have to see Man City and Liverpool play, and that's gonna be just a fantastic matchup when that happens. We're gonna have 2 teams at full strength with 2 great managers. It's just gonna be fun, and it's still amazing to see that Chelsea hasn't really faltered that much with everything that's been going on at that club, and I think or at least I said that I think the Final Four race would come down between Arsenal and West Ham, but with the way our Spurs, right? Sorry, my thing's inverse, so I can't see it. I can't do it well. Well, the way our Spurs have played recently, it gives me a little bit of hope, but knowing them, they'll blow it somehow. And I read an article on ESPN not long ago that asked if Ronaldo, current stage Ronaldo, is the man for the job at Man U anymore. I mean, maybe he's still a very talented player and I think he could win almost anywhere he goes, but I'm not sure he's at the capability of leading a roster that is lacking talent in huge spots right now.
I have to find that article and read it. You need to send it to me because obviously he's good enough against us.
Yeah.
He's good enough against Spurs because of course he's going to go out and bag a hattie. Why not? Why freaking not? But as he said, Spurs, we're on our upward trend. Of course, that means we're gonna falter out. And you mentioned West Ham because we did talk about them. I'd be remiss not to bring them up. They are sitting at 48 points, so they're only 3 back of Spurs, 6 back off of 4th. So they still have a shot. I agree with you completely. That Man City Liverpool game. I mean, just as the Premier League continues to try and build their product, it's always good for people in the United States trying to tune into soccer to have a close race. I hate that people would, become City fans or Chelsea fans, just kind of the Yankee effect there. But at this point, just viewership is key, I believe, for soccer in the United States. So I really don't care who sides with who over here, but I'm stoked. I'm not sure. I didn't see when that match was, but it's coming up. It's not at the very end of the season. It's like a couple weeks away after this international break. I will say that the thing I'm surprised with Chelsea, and I'll pose this to you. I'm not sure if you've been watching much Chelsea football. I don't really myself, but I did pick up Kai Havertz for my fantasy league. This about a month ago, and he has been going off since the benching of Lukaku. So they put Havertz up at striker. They moved Lukaku. They're huge signing. The Belgian just beast from Serie A back to the bench in some sub roles. What do you think of that move? I never would have seen that coming into the season. Lukaku coming out so hot, so strong. The name recognition, like I said, a beast in Serie A. Now coming off the bench almost entirely for Kai Havertz, who's great in his own right, but it's Lukaku.
Definitely something I didn't expect. I mean, Lukaku is I don't want to say world class because only so many people can be world class, but he's a damn good striker. There are some times where you question how committed he is during a game, and I think that might be partially the issue as why he doesn't start in that 11. But I mean, hell, if you got a guy like him coming off the bench, like that doesn't hurt either.
That's very true. I guess that's where Spurs have been lacking, right? I mean, we play Liverpool in Champions League. They bring freaking Origi off the bench. I mean, they're bringing all kinds of dudes off the bench. Hell, they can bring on Thiago off the bench this year. I mean, it's just waves and waves and waves of talent. So I agree with your sentiment exactly on Lukaku. But as I said, today's podcast is about our USA because we are trying to right the wrongs of the last 4 years. Heartbreak in 2018, completely unacceptable. I know people have their thoughts on Taylor Twellman. I don't like the guy, but he could not have been more right on his rant on U.S. soccer after we lost to freaking Trinidad and Tobago to get knocked out of the 2018 World Cup. Now, in retrospect, I don't want to freaking go to Russia anyways, so maybe, we got the best of that deal. But let's take a look here at the current standings as we go into the final qualification. So there's 3 games left for everybody who advanced to basically the final qualification of the World Cup in CONCACAF. So surprisingly, Canada sits first. We talked about them. They're a feisty team. They've loved to be in the position of like everyone counting them out because it's freaking Canada, eh? When has Canada been good at soccer? Never. So of course we're counting them out. They are in first with 25 points. So they're basically in. They would have to screw up royally. For those of you who don't know, top 3 automatically get in. And then the 4th, I believe, goes into some kind of playing game. I think this round, it's a playing game against a team out of Asia to get in. So you'd need to win if you ended 4th. You don't want that. So Canada's in first with 25 points. Then it's the United States and Mexico tied at 2nd place with 21 points apiece. Panama sits in 4th place with 17 points, and Costa Rica 16 points. And this is why this round of qualifiers are huge for the U.S. because they play all of Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. It's not over for the United States. We play Mexico tomorrow. Let's talk about that game first. As I said, we're tied 2-2 with them. A win against Mexico, the U.S. is in. The problem with that is this game is at the Azteca in Mexico City, where I don't think the United States has won in. I'm not even sure they've won in my lifetime, to be quite honest with you.
I could be wrong, but I remember watching a video about Landon Donovan's time as a U.S. men's captain, and I think he might have pulled one off when he was really young.
Time. Yeah, that'd be the only time. And I think we have a draw as well somewhere in the Donovan era as well. But it's rare. It is a house of horrors for U.S. men's team. Our last matchup with them, of course, we played it in Columbus. Dos a cero, baby. Always going to be that way. Pulisic coming off the bench with a goal in that one, and Robinson, defender for the United States, with a goal, I believe, as well. What are you looking for, Kellen? What do you think is going to happen in this matchup? We are without Weston McKennie, by the way.
I was just about to say that. I mean, that is a huge loss for us just as a whole. The dude's a great player to have. Whether or not he's playing at 100% of his capabilities, he's just a guy that teams like Mexico or Costa Rica, Peru, have at least some fear for when they're out there, and not having him on the pitch is going to hurt us a lot unless, you got to have that next man up mentality. But I mean, I could be wrong. I might have been the Dos a Cero. No, I don't think was it the game that we won 3-1? Did we win 3-2? Was it 2-1? We won off of the free kick cross header extra time, like 119th minute.
I believe that was 3-2, wasn't it?
3-2. We won that game with mostly our B and C squad out there.
Mhm.
So I think we do have a chance to win this game, even without Weston McKinney. But as you mentioned, Alec, we have a hard ass time playing in the Azteca. Mexico will win this match, or at least it'll be a draw. But I don't see the U.S. pulling out a victory here.
I think for U.S. soccer fans, if we can come out with even a point from a draw, that'd be fantastic. A loss does not doom us by any means. A lot of stuff would have to go right for Panama or Costa Rica. One of those two teams would have to win out. But that loss, I just wonder for the psyche of this team if they pick up a bad loss, say 3-0, and we don't even look competitive, even though it is at the Azteca. If thoughts of 2018 might start to creep in, I hope not. I would think with the 4 years of growth, they would have gotten over that. But I mean, that's literally like you didn't go to the World Cup. Like, so how many kids on this roster? Because I mean, it basically is kids. They're like 19 to 25 years old.
A lot of young guys on here. We got no Clint Dempsey, no Tim Howard, no Landon Donovan. It's a very young team. Is Bradley still on the squad, or is he off too?
He's not still on the squad. There, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. DeAndre Yedlin might be the only player who's had World Cup experience, because I'm not sure. I don't think they're bringing John Brooks back. He was a hero against Ghana back in 2014. Off the top of my head, those are the only players that I can think of that might have World Cup experience. So hopefully you want to avoid that big loss to Mexico, try to get the draw. So then we move to Sunday, 7 p.m. against Panama. That's a game we have to win. I'm sorry. Like if they lose that one, or if they take a draw in that one after a draw in Mexico, I think then doubts would start to be creeping into these kids' mind. I believe that's at home. Panama won the first match. They won it 1-0. It wasn't a great match, kind of a slog. But the United States did not play well. We got outshot 8-5. Possession was only 51% to us. Panama is kind of one of those teams that, too, has always been a thorn in the side of the United States. What are you thinking going into this matchup, Kellen? What do you think is going to happen?
I 100% agree with you on the fact that it is a must-win game for the U.S., especially if they lose that Mexico game. Definitely a must-win. If they draw, a little more forgiving, but I still think in almost all cases this is a must-win game, and I actually think a loss to Mexico might help us a little bit in this situation where it's like, hey, we gotta nut up or shut up here. This is what we gotta do. We have to win this game, or else we might risk not making the World Cup. And we saw everyone shit on us 4 years ago for not making it. This is our time to show not only the country but the world that U.S. soccer isn't a laughingstock, even though it still partially is. Show that we can at least contend a little bit. Like, I mean, you don't got to make it out of the group stage, but just make it there, and I'll be happy.
Oh, sure. I mean, well, actually, we should be making it out of the group stage. I'm going to dive off on a little tangent here. How come a country with one of the largest world populations, with athletes all over the dang place, I don't know if I buy the excuse that all of our athletes are playing football and basketball. I just don't agree. We have so many people in this country. Costa Rica can field a soccer team that reaches around the 16 and does well. I mean, it just bugs the heck out of me. Even you look at like the Netherlands. Sure, yeah, they don't have the basketball and like football we have, but they're a tiny country. Denmark, they do well in these world competitions. I just don't understand why we haven't even like gotten lucky and backed into one. You know, it's always stuck in my craw, that kind of struggle.
I think the main issue is the managerial aspect and the scouting aspect, because I guarantee we don't have the young U.S. clubs that teams like Denmark or the Netherlands have, where they're bringing in these 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and already preparing them to play at high level soccer. I bet we're not doing that. I don't know exactly what we do, but I'm assuming we don't do that. And we have not had a good series of solid managers who are known for anything outside of being the manager of U.S. soccer. I mean, we had, was it Jurgen Klinsmann?
Yeah.
It was good for West Germany when he played, but not a great manager for the U.S. soccer team.
I wonder, I think that you brought up a great point with kind of the development. I almost wonder then, so, okay, let's pretend you're 12, you're 12. U.S. soccer comes to you and says, hey, why don't you come to an academy that we have set up? You just stay in there your entire teenage years. For United States parent, I wonder if that's like, what's the security in that? Because here in the U.S., we value kids going to college so highly. And so it's like, okay, if you take this chance on U.S. soccer, is this going to get you somewhere? Like maybe it's one of those, what has to come first? Does world competition success obviously have to come for the neutral fans to say like, hey, yeah, maybe this is worth it. Maybe they can go play in Europe somewhere. I don't know. It's maybe just a theory to look into.
I mean, I would definitely say that development in recent years has been a lot better than it has been historically. Like we have a lot more players playing in Europe than we ever have before. So they've definitely stepped up a little bit since then. But I mean, if they really want to consider contending, you're gonna have to go all out. And I mean, if I'm pitching to the parents, you gotta have some type of educational thing that happens along with the soccer or football for them to get for the parents to jump on board, because like you said, university education is highly tallied in the US, probably more than most countries, but even that there's statistics and political things I could get into, not going to, but I feel like you could pitch that to someone under the right circumstances. Like if someone walked up to me when I was 10 years old and like, hey, you join this club and someday you could be on the U.S. men's soccer team, I would be down for it in a heartbeat.
Completely agree. Heck, maybe we should pitch the idea. Maybe we should pitch the idea to U.S. soccer. Let's become ambassadors to U.S. soccer. That's what we're trying to do anyways on the podcast here. All right. So this is why the last two games are super, 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 super important, that we don't get crushed by Mexico, or it'd be great to pick up a point and that you have to win against Panama, because if you don't, you are looking at your final game in the qualification cycle being on the road at Costa Rica, which is another house of horrors for this U.S. men's national team historically. And the last thing you want to do is be having to go into that game needing some specific result. We need to avoid that at all costs. It's going to be raucous there. They don't like us. The pitch always sucks ass. It's in horrible condition all the time. It's like playing in a third world country. I don't know if Costa Rica would be considered a third world country.
Well, every country is a third world country because the Earth is the third planet in the solar system.
Bang. A little bit of knowledge there from Kellen. Anyways, our last game against Costa Rica, we won 2-1, and we dominated the game. It's 12 shots to 4 in favor of the United States. Our possession was 64-36. That's outrageous. And that equated to us having completed 644 passes to 372. That's a dominating performance in a game. Couldn't go any better. Sergio Dest had a goal in that game. I love Sergio Dest, by the way. I hope he gets more time playing. And then Moriera, who I don't think I've seen since that game. So never even heard of the name. Maybe I'm a bad fan. I don't know. I thought that was random. Again, Kellen, I'll pass it to you. How big is this game, and how important is it that we don't need a specific result?
It's incredibly important. I think even if we manage to win the 2 previous games or win those 2 games, this is the last match before we would enter any serious elimination competition. Like if you leave on a note where you dominate Costa Rica in Costa Rica, that's gonna carry on to when you play your group stage matches. So even if the numbers may not say it's important to the team, the players, the managers, and to us, I would say it's an incredibly important match to win.
Completely agree. So to overview really quickly for you guys, basically, if the United States picks up singular win in any of these games, they will be fine. It just so happens to be that they're playing the 3 teams directly below them. So the pressure is going to mount with each game they don't achieve a desired result. So hopefully they win tomorrow in Mexico. It'd be fantastic. It's going to happen? No, we thought they were going to draw. Panama, I see us getting a win in that game. I'm going to give us 3 points there, so we're through. And then Costa Rica, I could definitely see a draw. So I think it's going to be draw, win, draw. So I'm seeing it.
I'm going draw, win.
Hell yeah, brother. That's what we like to see here. Kellen, U.S. men's national team super fan.
Not true.
I will say I haven't been looking into too much on who, if the United States did fall to 4th place, who they'd be playing out of Asia. Normally it seems to be Australia or Japan recently. Those have been the 2 teams playing there, but we'll update you probably, by next Thursday, actually, because we will know the result after next Wednesday. How about that? And Kellen and I, we talked about before getting together to watch a game. We need to. Maybe that Sunday game at 7 is looking like our game right there. We'll see.
Like it.
We will see. But until then, guys, again, tune in. Mexico tomorrow, 10 p.m. I'm sure it's on Fox. I haven't checked in, but most of these are on Fox. Mexico tomorrow, 10 p.m. Azteca. Sunday, 7 o'clock, home against Panama. And Wednesday, 9 o'clock for all the marbles against Costa Rica. The final thing I'd like to touch on to prove that we do live in a simulation, and soccer always brings us to that, right? Did you see that Russia is trying to bid for hosting the Euros right now? Amidst all the chaos, Russia has sent a bid to host an international soccer tournament. I believe not this next upcoming one, but the following one. What the hell are they thinking?
How is that even allowed? Weren't they banned from all international competition or something like that? I'm confused.
That's exactly like the world's response to this whole thing, because they have not actually been said, no, you can't, or yes, this is fine. It's been like a reaction of, dude, what are you talking about? How are you justifying any of this right now? So that will be a story to follow for anyone who wants to get out there and read it. I'm sure I saw that.
I'm going to assume the answer is going to be no.
Oh, you'd hope so.
I mean, we all know money speaks in FIFA, so they couldn't give enough money, but hopefully there is no amount of money the FIFA would take to put the freaking Euros in Russia.
Yeah, I saw that at 9:30 this morning, so at 6 o'clock this evening, I'm sure there's loads of stuff out on it right now, so maybe go ahead and look at it. But with that concludes our second ever episode of the Bar Down podcast. We hopefully this will start to get more organized and a little bit better. But no, always love talking soccer with you, Kellen.
Absolutely. And maybe as we progress, maybe my tying will get more professional, because right now
it needs to stay
I look like
right like that.
Pee Wee Herman.
It's freaking glorious. Oh God, if Harry Kane wore a tie, that is Harry Kane's tie. Anyways, with that, we will see you guys later. Have a great night and tune in tomorrow, 10 p.m. Mexico, United States.
Go Coys.